All right, just like I said, you just checked out our other video. Well, let me introduce myself. Sorry, it's getting really late. Jeremy, Jeeps Unlimited, partsbreakers.com, 303-666-9020. About 10:30. Oh, June, almost 14th. My mom's birthday is tomorrow, so I'm going to try to surprise her in Denver. I'm out of my way to deliver these guys. So, anyway, I just listed this really neat conversion that we've sold for years, but never really photoed and videoed very well. So check that out. Check out our YouTube video. Just look at the date and then go to the videos and you should be able to find that one. It's a 4-liter high output conversion, and it's representing, as of for now, until I get the other ones put up, which won't be probably anytime soon. We usually sell these as we go. But anyway, if you have a 2.5 and are wanting to put a 4.0, or in the case of the customer this is actually going to, they had a Renix 4.0, 87 to 90, and they're wanting to do a high output swap, as well as a conversion for 4-wheel drive, which I just realized not everything is here, so we gotta do that one. So yes, we do 4-wheel drive conversions. In this case, it was a 2-wheel drive Comanche, and they're doing the whole shebang. They went to a 4-liter high output. They're going to an AX15. That's what's actually going to be shown in this video, from a Peugeot. And in the process, they're putting in 4-wheel drive. So they need the transfer case and the drive shafts. Obviously, some of that's sitting here, and then a few other odds and ends, obviously, for an axle. So that will be probably another video I do tonight, actually. Wasn't planning on it, maybe tomorrow, we'll see. But anyway, okay, so this is gonna represent anytime you wanna swing through an AX, or convert to an AX15. That doesn't mean that if you're in the YJ or Wrangler camp, that this is gonna be exactly what you get. You will get the gist of this, and I will update these videos. I think there's one out there. I've been doing this for 18 years, a long time. Some differences you're gonna see on a YJ is gonna be that guy there. A YJ uses a totally different cross member, and actually those don't change, so you're not gonna need a new cross member. They did change in the Cherokee XJs when they went to X15, okay? Drive shafts, again, those are gonna be slightly different than what you're gonna need. We will include those, but they're gonna be more for a YJ. Obviously the rear is gonna be a lot shorter than it was on this one. The shifter handle is actually different as well. That's because the dash is kind of in your way on a Cherokee, so you don't want the long one. So they do a shorter one on that. So that will be for a YJ, or a TJ if you're doing a AX5 for some reason, because everything really came with AX15s if you had a 4-liter, unless you, in the later years, NV3550, or again, this NSG 370 6-speed. So, and we actually do those conversions as well. So not to confuse you at all, but this gives you a general idea when you're converting to an AX15 what you're going to receive from us. Essentially, from us, if you're keeping it internal slave, which we're going to assume you are, and this one's not a great representation of a TJ, although we could use it for that, but there's a couple subtle differences on the transfer case side of things. You still get a transfer case. Part of the reason is that transfer case is a 23 spline. The input shaft, that's the shaft that actually mates up to the back of that transmission, is 23. And on Peugeots, BA-10s, or AX5s, if for some reason you're switching from an AX5 to a 2.5 to a 4-liter, then you're going to need a 23 spline, and that will come with this kit. So regardless of what model you have. And again, I'll update as we sell. I'll try to get photos, videos, blah, blah, up. But for right now, this is going to be posted on any AX15 conversion, whether that be an AX5, because you're, again, switching over a 6-cylinder, whether that be you're coming out of a Peugeot, which is usually what is happening, 87, 89 years. Okay, so this is what you can expect. And this is set up to a 93, as shown. Up to 93, and then thereafter, 94, 95, and so forth. 94, 95 are external, up to 93 are internal. We usually recommend you upgrading. You'd buy this kit, and then you'd pay a little bit more, and you'd upgrade it to an external slave. There's a couple reasons behind that. I'm not going to get too much into that in this video, because I always like to at least offer, especially because some people's budget can only do this much so far, and you can always do the external slave later, although you do have to pull the tranny in order to do it, so it is a lot easier to do as you have it out now. So okay, but without further ado, okay, we got in this case a cross member. Again, YJ Camp won't have that guy. 23 spline transfer case. It's going to look identical to what you have, unless you have a 207, which are real early transfer cases they were using. But not to worry if you do. This will still work. You just might have a couple different plugs. But reverse light, speedos, all that stuff, we can get in there for it. It's not a big deal. So, okay, transmission shifter. In the YJ world, you're actually going to get a transfer case shifter set up. We're assuming you guys have four-wheel drive. If you don't have four-wheel drive and you're needing that as well, totally different scenario, okay? And in that case, if you're not switching to four-wheel drive and you're looking for an AX15 conversion, this will not represent that, because it is 100% different and different looking. So only four-wheel drive AX15 conversions, okay? And the Cherokee guys get the linkage and the plates and blah, 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 but they don't get the shifter, because the shifter is the same. That's your TK shifter inside. On the YJ, they change from the AX5 or the BA-10. Both of those are different. The way they bolt up to the side, they will not work, and you will need the AX15 one. Okay, now I'm only going to address one more thing here. So you got this is set up internal, okay, and as you see it has a slave there. It's not always going to have that, and even if it does come with it, you should be putting a different one in it. These are sometimes been sitting out, and this is one of the reasons I don't like internal slaves. They're a bugger to do, and if you ever have one go bad, you have to drop the whole tranny. An external slave, you don't have to do that. But again, I'm not going to go over that too much right now. The only other thing I want to point out that happens on early Jeeps. Now, in this case, they didn't have to worry about it because they were doing an upgrade to a 4-liter, high output 4-liter, okay? But if you have a 4.2, 87 to 90, okay, YJ, or in some cases the 87 to 90 Renex 4.0, you're going to have what I call a pencil. I won't continue that because it's derogatory. Input shaft, okay, and it's just, there's a nice spider there. Right there. I'll make sure he leaves us alone before we ship this guy. But it is literally talking about this guy, okay. This is a later one, so this is off of a 92 and up, all right? And an early one is going to be literally like a pencil, okay? It's real small, about my pinky. There's a measurement on it I can give you guys, but for now, that's all you need to look for. This one's the fatter one, that one's the other one. You can use a later one on an early motor, but you got to know it going into it, because if you don't, you're not going to order, or we're not going to send the correct bushing. And what's going to come in the clutch kit will not fill the whole void. So it's actually a different bushing. It's not a bearing, it's a bushing we use that will supply you. But you got to let us know that. If you've already upgraded to a later 4-liter or done some sort of crank swap or blah, blah, I would say you're probably good to go with what we send you. Well, actually, this kit doesn't come with a clutch kit, but in our external slaves, they do. But when you order a clutch kit, they come with that stuff. If you have swapped a motor in it, you can call and I can try to help you out. You'll need the inside diameter, the back of your crank. That's what I'm talking about right there, folks. Okay, and the outside diameter, and then you can make the bigger one work in the back of your setup. Sometimes we have the 9091 transmissions. Those are AX15s they made. They're not very common. They're super hard to get, and they're a little more expensive. And it makes that a little bit smoother, but they're very rare. And in some cases, they're, excuse me, that's totally inappropriate to have on a video. But I've been holding that one a while, so. In some cases, I'm like a 5th grader right now. I'm blushing. couldn't help it. I don't want to throw 10 minutes of a video away. So is what it is. A lot of people like the thicker ones because they're obviously stronger. Okay, that's the only reason. But will a thin one be okay? Yeah, it will. If you're pushing a lot of power, or you made a stroker, I would say. If you've done that already, you probably already know that, and you're going to have the thicker shaft anyway. So, okay. What other thing? I think that's it, but maybe not. What do you think? I feel like there was one more thing I was going to address. I know what I was going to say. Even though I'm showing this for a YJ, okay, just as the video, not as the photos. Well, maybe in the beginning as the photos, but we will put disclaimers all over it that this will not work as it's shown. This is just a representation, okay? And you will see them. I'm not going to just send you parts without you looking at them, so don't worry about that. But I do want to give you the gist of it. The reason that I'm not going to send you a Cherokee one if you're a YJ, or if you're a YJ, I'm not going to send you a YJ one if you're a Cherokee guy, and contradict on what people say. Yes, you can do it, but it is a pain in the ass without a good drill press and really pulling your tail housing off, okay? They're clocked different. They're clocked different, right? So this transmission or transfer case is clocked downwards, like so. I don't have a YJ one here, or I'd show you, but they're different clocking on that transfer case. And that's because the bottom of a Cherokee is much different. It's almost more flatter than it is on a YJ. They have more of a cutout. So on a YJ one, they tend to, they're set up a little higher. So you can actually use one on the other, not the other way around. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. So instead of messing with that and making you guess and do all that mumbo jumbo, we will send you, if you say you have a Cherokee or a Comanche, we're going to send you one of these guys. And if you have a YJ, we'll send you the other one, okay? And then you get into the TJ world, and yes, it still matters, but we won't send you a Cherokee or blah, 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 okay? But again, I'm probably not going to list this one for a TJ or a late XJ because they did change some things on the TK style things, okay? So, that's it. I was going to put these in this one and kind of just increase this as we went price-wise as like basic and this, but I'm just going to keep these separate because it really makes it overly complicated for someone. If you're wanting a 4-liter, then like I said, take a look at that video. And then if you're wanting this done at the same time, you'll basically be purchasing just 2 separate kits from us. But a lot of times, and in this case, minus that engine, which we just pulled out of a later model because it had really good compression, low miles, you'll almost always get the parts from the same vehicle. And we try to do that so it's super easy going back in, okay? So that's it. I'm going to kill the video. I'm going to take a couple photos. I'm going to set this up for an internal slave conversion, AX15 conversion. I know we already have one on a YJ, so I probably won't use this for that video, but if I do, that's the only reason. So don't get mad and say, hey, that doesn't look like a YJ one. Yeah, it is not a YJ one. I'm only going to use it there if I can't find the video that I took a few years back for the YJ one until I have the time to get a YJ one done again, okay? And then stay tuned. Again, I'm going to be up a while tonight. Stay tuned because here in a minute, I'm going to do an AX15 external slave setup on this, or at least show you the parts, put another kit up that we're offering again on the XJ line of things. And in this case, this customer did order, they ordered all that. They ordered this with external slave. And then they also ordered the front axle because theirs was 2-wheel drive. If I can get that axle in here, that would be a cool video to do as a conversion from, let's say, a manual. Maybe you already have an AX15, but it's 2-wheel drive, and you're wanting to put 4-wheel drive underneath it. Ironically, in that setup, that conversion from 2-wheel to 4-wheel on the AX15 note or BA-10, you're going to need almost, if not all, the same parts here, in addition to the axle, the shifter, the console, and a few other odds and ends that I don't have up here at the moment that the guys have somewhere. So, okay? All right. Thanks a lot. 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. Enjoy the rest of summer. Almost Mama's birthday, June 13th today, 14th tomorrow.